Alright, so next up we've got articulation. But much like the sculpt and paint, given the fact that they're just scaled up versions of each other, there's not really going to be a whole lot of differences, but we're going to go over them anyway. So, for the basic 6-inch figures, we have well, it's focusing in the camera for a sec. Come on. Come on. There you go. Jaw can hinge open, up and down like that. Head does not turn. It looks like it does, but trust me, it is a square peg, and trust me, you do not want to just break Godzilla's neck. Arms, because they are basic swivels, you can kind of rotate them essentially to your heart's content. Oh wow, I'm completely missing that on camera. But yeah, you can pretty much go all the way around with them, but comfortably it's going to be just an up and down movement. Same with this shoulder, although this one's a bit more tighter. For the legs, you can go up about that far, backwards about that far, rotate this foot 360. For this leg, you can go up about that far, backwards about that far, and you can rotate this foot a full 360, and we'll have a ball joint here at the base of the tail, and so that's all fun and games. Again, no extra movement in the tail because that's just all the flexible plastic and no rubber. Not going over him because he's literally unchanged, but let's talk about the bigger figure, which we can get to frame nicely done like that. Alright, the jaw, engineered a little differently. It's not the whole thing that's cut, it's just kind of like forward cut to the jaw, but you can still get the same range. Close it, open it, no head articulation this time. Well, obviously, neither. Shoulder swivels, they don't go all the way around. Yeah, no, they don't. This one can go backwards about that far, and forwards about here, I'd say. There's no wrist swivel, even though there looks like a seam line. Trust me, that's an uneven cut. And for this, for this shoulder, we can go up about this far, and backwards about that far. So yeah, limited range. It's nothing too special. But we can also do it like that. For this leg, we can go upwards about that far, backwards about that far, and for this foot, we can go pretty much rotate. Nicely done. This hip, we can go forward about that far, backwards about that far, and you can rotate pretty much not all the way around, but just basic rotate. Well, actually, you can go all the way around. I don't know what I'm saying. But here we have a ball joint here for the tail, and it's not as good with like the range, and also I'm starting to notice a bit of scuffs in the plastic. Not the best quality. And yeah, no extra segments. This looks like a seam line. It is, but there's no extra articulation. So when you boil it down, again, as far as like the overall engineering, it's a bit different from the large to the bigger ones. Sorry, the small to the bigger ones. But it's not exactly like 100% different. But I think that perfectly kind of segues into the size, which again, self-explanatory. 6-inch figures are going to scale well with practically any Godzilla, or maybe even other brands you have, like Haya, NECA, Bandai, other Playmates, SH Monster Arts, all the works. No, I wouldn't really say Reveltech. That's not really one of them. But you do get a fair amount of size options. And for the giant, obviously it's not going to be standard. It's just going to be a big kid's toy, of course. So it's not really going to be meant to scale with anything other than, I wouldn't even say like really the other giants, because all the other giants are kind of like out of scale, especially Shimo. Then again, you can kind of argue with that. Whatever. So essentially, he's made to go with his own scale and his own scale only. These guys can pretty much scale with any other Godzilla and such you have. Accessories, these two come with their respective beams. He doesn't. Which, actually, now that I'm having this, what does he look like with the beam? Come on, spit it out. Making sure just want to make sure I'm not scuffing anything up. How do you look with the beam? Very piss poor. It looks like you're lighting up a cigarette and you're smoking it. Kind of wish he had a beam, but I guess like maybe the Mega Godzilla has a beam technicality. So there you go. He doesn't really have anything. He comes with the tip of his tail. Sorry about that, guys. Had a bit of an interruption, but that's okay. Yeah, like I was saying, technically speaking, he comes with nothing. These two come with their beams, and yeah, that's essentially all they come with, but that's okay. It should be worth noting that he comes with his full set, including 2 crystals and 2 rib cages, along with a Shimo figure and an ice breath, but we're only counting the ones that are exclusive specifically for Godzilla, and that features his beams. So with that being said, let's move on right to price. He's $10. He's $25 in his set. He's $25 on his own, which I guess you could really argue that these two are essentially speaking the same price when you go into retail at Walmart, because that's where you can only get them. But it should be worth noting again, this guy's going to be the cheapest one of the bunch here. And that kind of segues back into availability, which you can find him and him at practically most to all major retailers. We're talking Walmart, we're talking Targets, we're talking comic shops, any collectible store that would sell Godzilla merch, practically here and here. Him, I don't think is available anywhere else but Walmart and maybe comic shops. Because I've seen a few that carry them, but the stockage is like really weird and all that stuff. So realistically speaking, it's going to be Walmart exclusive and then general figure releases. Because again, they're exclusive to Walmart's. And packaging, again, it's one of the rare cases where I can actually go ahead and show you the boxes. And for the boxes, we actually have this one, which is the Godzilla vs. Shimo box. Shimo and Godzilla, as you can see, are Godzilla vs. Shimo. Pretty much like read up. Following the style guide of the movie, Godzilla Kong New Empire, images of Godzilla and Kong, 4th set, Monsterverse, all that jazz. And then you kind of got Godzilla and Shimo, Battle Pack, and all the accessories that come with it. And it's basically just a big, very artsy-fartsy, kind of closed off box, and that's something I really enjoy. But talking about the other 2 boxes, we can obviously see that they're essentially the same thing, just scaled up and scaled down. I will say that because of the this that they use, this feels a bit more structurally sound versus here, where while I did have some trouble opening it, these little ropes ain't doing anything. And I'd rather have these little like ties that actually like tie down the figure versus here where it just feels a lot looser. Because for me, it felt a little bit too loose, especially when you're going into retail. And so we basically come to the end of this overall comparison video. I just want to come out and just say that these figures are honestly pretty interesting overall. And while the figures that I'm showing here have some differences and a lot of similarities, because they're essentially the same base design, scaled up or repainted or engineered in a certain type of way that could be different from unit to unit. So even your mileage may vary, in fact, because of how mass-produced these things are. Because I guarantee my giant Godzilla ain't the same one you're going to find at Walmart or Target or your comic book shop or ordering online, whatever the heck. But to really wrap it up, I think that these guys, at least the Godzillas, honestly, they're really good. I like this one for its simplicity and how just, I guess, standard of a Godzilla Evolved figure it is. I like this one for having just a amazing type of color repaint. And I like this one for being a much general size thing. But if I had to choose an overall best, much like the other video for Kong, I'm going to have to go with the standard Godzilla. I just think the overall like execution of the articulation, the quality of the plastic, the sculpt, even if it is a bit iffy in some areas, it's still executed just overall the best. And again, while it is true that he's technically a repaint of him, there are some differences like the quality of the plastic and the overall like quality of the paint that just make me prefer this guy over him. And the giant, while it does have a lot of good things about it and things that this guy does not have, he's just too lackluster when it comes to the detail work and the paint job, specifically on the eyes, and a bit so on the transition of the claws as well. It just doesn't, or I mean the tail, sorry. It just doesn't really mesh well for me. But overall, I think that these guys are heavy winners, and in my opinion, Playmates is doing a really good job with like the whole Godzilla line anyway, because now, if we're possibly, hopefully, at least for the foreseeable future, we can have Godzilla figures in various different scales. We got this 6-inch, there's like a 2-inch, and there's like a 1-inch with like hollow earth crystals. There's this one, a 13-inch, and a newly revealed and released 24-inch. I'm gonna try and hopefully get those 24-inch ones one day. Even if it takes me to like the end of 2025, 6, 7, when the new movies be out or beyond, I'm going to hunt those down. I missed the Jack specific Godzilla, and I'm not missing this one. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.